So I'm trying something a little bit different here, doing some fast motion video and some stop and talk video, kind of mixing together in the build. I know my lighting's not great, so if I can get some little tips on some cheap lighting, that sure would be great. But right here I'm just putting my XT60 together, kind of showing how I do that. I do have to put my hat off to the other guys that do reviews and building videos, and how they are able to put all of it together, because going back through my footage, it took a little bit of time to get some of the fast motion together, and to actually, I noticed going back that some of the stuff you can't see very well because of my lighting, so definitely need to try to work on getting some better lighting. So if you'll notice, I have a male and a female end on there. When I'm soldering to it, to kind of hold the end straight, and to also let some of the heat come out. Just pre-tinning my XT60 in there, and then getting it ready to put on the flight controller. Trying to make sure I got a good bond on it. Let the solder flow and get the pad hot and also the wire hot at the same time. So you need to put it on there for a little bit. Got my iron set to max, which is about 400 Celsius. Almost got scared here because when I plugged it in, it made a certain kind of noise, which I'll show you here. I'm going to plug it in full 4S LiPo. So I'm assuming that's just the buzzer that's not working correctly, going off. So I hope that's what it is. I checked all the voltage pads, and all of them were working, other than, if I'm not mistaken, the camera out. See, this is the video out here, and it is a 7.6 volts. But the camera was supposed to be 5 volts, I thought. Just going to double check that really quick. So the 5 volt back is for the receiver. So yes, you're getting a 7.6 volts on camera and VTX out. So and both of them are supposed to be filter. So alright, just double checking that. So the voltage is all checked out on the board, other than that sound that scared me, the beep in there. So yeah, just wanted to kind of warn people about that beeping when you first plug it in. Now right now there is 3.1.7 installed on here, so it's supposed to be fixed in 3.2, the buzzer, so that may fix that too. So right now I'm pre-tinning my cable for right there by the power cable is for my IRC tramp smart audio, I guess. Also pre-tinning the wires on the bottom there for my receiver. And then now I'm going to pre-tin all of my ESC pads, signal pads, and also the pads that I'll be using for my camera and VTX on the top side. Once again, the lighting is not all that great. I do apologize for that. I do need to work better on my lighting, but I think you can still make gist of what I'm doing here. Once again, my hat's off to them other guys, especially the ones that get it really, really close. Maybe they have a better zoom on their camera, I don't know, but yeah, I mean, this was pretty close to the I could get the camera to the actual part. But I'm just turning around so I can get the other side, the other ESC pads. Of course, I tried to speed up the video just enough so that it does make it a little bit faster, because I definitely spent more time doing this than I show here. Alright, so after I get done soldering everything up, I mean, just about every time I solder some stuff, I do try to check the continuity. You know, you never know when there's that little small strand there between solders for positive and negative, so I always make sure I check everything multiple times. You know the old saying, cut once, measure twice, or measure twice and cut once. So both of these are positive and negative, and both of these are negative negative and positive positive, so these are okay to be touching if they were. These two obviously should not be beeping. Same thing here. Make sure there's no continuity between them two, and I just go around the board and make sure that there's nothing connecting to each other. On the front too. Oh, let's see, these should be touching because these are two positives. Nothing there. Nothing there. Just double checking. This right here is a negative for the camera, so it should do on the negative ESCs. Turn over and check again. Click on these pads, make sure none of them are touching. And after you double check everything, then you can plug it in and test it. Now, I know you're supposed to use the smoke stoppers, but I don't use any of them because I don't have one. I'm too lazy to make one up. But so still is that noise that it makes from the buzzer, but things seems to be going good, except for that annoying beeping. Alright, so right now I'm pre-tinning or re-pre-tinning the wires for the receiver, and getting them put on the flight controller because it's on the bottom, so I have to put that on before I put the stack on the frame. I did already have the receiver, it's XM Plus. It was already had the wires on it from another build, so that's the reason why I didn't show that part. So, you know, if you'll notice that, you know, the things that I have on the bottom, I have to get on before I can put it on the frame, which kind of makes this board a little bit annoying in case because you have problems. Matter of fact, I had to take it back off because I forgot to do something or put it on the wrong wire at one time. So, but yeah, that does make it a little difficult, but it's still a good board so far. Because the board is going to be sitting like this, I've got the receiver already plugged in and tested to confirm that it works. Of course, check the voltage first, but got my S-bus positive and negative there on the bottom. The next thing I'm going to do, but it's going to be hard to test out, is going to plug in my smart audio here for my BTX, because I won't be able to get to that part of the board once I put it on the quad. Pretty sure TX4 is. I sure hope it is, because I'd hate to have to take it back apart. So in this part of the video here, right now I am soldering all my ESCs and signal wires to the board. I've mounted the flight controller on them flexible standoffs or anti-vibration standoffs, like comes with the Maytech board. Also, my ESCs and my motors were already on here. I didn't put them on them from an old build. Basically, I was just trading out the flight controller. I do have DYS 20 amp ESCs on there, and they are converted to D-shot by taking off the capacitor. I've also got, they do seem a little thick if you look at them, but I do have a little 3D printed part that goes on it to protect it from prop strikes. But yeah, you can just see that some of the wires may be a hair short, but I think they're still long enough. If you'll notice, I don't have any signal ground wires coming from ESCs. I stopped doing that about 3 builds ago, because I haven't seen any different. The only thing that I do is I try to make a few loops around the main ground wire for the ESC in order to try to simulate what the signal ground would do. So if you'll kind of wrap that around the ground wire for the ESC, I think because they're so short to begin with, I don't think that they make that big of a difference. And you'll also notice, if you'll check some of them 4-in-1 ESCs, they only have one ground wire going to your flight controller for that crosstalk reduction. So to be, like I said, as these short links, I don't think they're really needed. Yeah, you'll see if I try to wrap it around just a little bit to get a little bit of that benefit of being wrapped around a ground wire. So now I'm checking my continuity just to double check that none of the things that I soldered was splattered or anything like that. So I've got all of the ESCs soldered on with the motor wires. I did check my motors. Everything worked fine. The motor order was correct. I tested all my continuity between solder joints just to make sure. Everything's working good so far. Motors in the right direction, which they were already installed. The biggest problem I was worried is maybe the motor order might be out of order. So I did get that is confirmed that the motor layout order is right with the xxxg coming out the back. So